Luke and Vader are right next to each other.
They are right.
Have a feeling like they're gonna fight, or have a picnic. You know, father and son.
Yeah.
Does he know?
He's about to find out, I think.
They're gonna play.
It's fine. I killed him last
They're
game.
gonna
I'll
play.
kill him
They're
again.
gonna play catch.
So what do you got there,
Force
Jen?
catch.
I have the push.
All right.
Push it real good.
Ooh, I'll let you activate 2 of your troopers, 2 units, right?
That's right.
And that is
My big dude and
initiative 2.
Vader.
All right. I'm gonna play. If you didn't know, I'm gonna play the Son of Skywalker. So just so you know, I'm the Son of Skywalker.
Okay. Who's that guy?
I don't know. So
Who's that
this
guy?
is a initiative 1
Mhm.
pick. You have to activate Luke Skywalker with it, and after he performs his first attack, he gets to attack a second time.
Nice.
Liquid Blue, thank you for that follow.
Hey!
Yay.
No, Liquid Bayou.
Liquid Bayou is very
That's a
different
whole
than
different thing.
B-I-U-E. What do you think?
Bayou.
B-U?
Bayou.
Luke is going to
I say Bayou.
run up into Vader's face.
All right, let's go to the overhead.
Dad.
We have. It's what everyone's been waiting for. Luke versus Vader. It's going to happen
And he is going to stab you.
right there. There's the combat.
Anakin's lightsaber.
Is that a pierce?
It is, so I don't,
I am immune to it.
right, so I don't get to use the pierce ability. That's what that means.
All right.
That seems ironic.
All right.
You're stabbing him with Anakin's.
Larry,
It does.
don't hate me.
Already.
Jen.
Not even. Give it here.
Jen.
Give it here. And the other piece, little one.
And how did this happen?
Alright, so
Were you-
that's 3 hits.
Were you playing? Was it a lightsaber? 'Cause that's
She
what I
was.
would have done.
Alright, so
Alrighty.
2 crits and 3 hits against you.
Jen is why we can't have nice things.
That is
Don't
true.
give me delicate things. Don't give me wine glasses with stems. Don't give me fragile little pieces of plastic. Whippy stick, especially if they're archaic whippy sticks from the original generation of 40K that are irreplaceable and you can't buy them anywhere. Because I will break them. I'm
alright,
sorry, Larry.
so,
I'll buy you a new one.
Don't be sorry to me. You should be sorry to the fans.
yeah.
I'm sorry. For
And
that.
math, because now you guys are going to have to deal with this tomorrow.
Ah.
Alright,
I'll fix it.
so that's 5 saves, Jen.
What
Woo!
were they?
5 saves.
Lightsabers in your face.
They're not pierced though?
That's from Luke.
No, because I don't get to use pierce against you.
And
Okay.
you get.
I'm just making sure.
And you get.
Pierce
Red.
ignores your defense rolls.
All right. Here we go.
Pierce lets me cancel up to 2 of your defense rolls, so I can't do that against you because
Right.
you're a lightsaber and
Yeah.
it's good at blocking lightsabers.
All right. You're gonna roll them right here.
Somehow.
Roll them right there. Jen.
Disgusting.
I require stand.
And you get 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 3.
I block
So
1.
2 go through, and then roll 2 more.
I block 2. I
Okay.
take 3.
Okay. And then because it's the Son of Skywalker, I was going to attack you again with a lightsaber.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is him hulking out. He's with this is where your head gets cut off.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, see, that's what the
He's
card
on
is.
the Death Star.
He's all
This is-
angry.
This is going really badly.
He's all
This is the crazy
angry.
Death Star.
All right. So you've taken 3 damage so far. How much has Vader taken total?
6.
That's 3 more hits.
Okay. So he's taken 6.
A crit, and this converts into a crit, so 5 more saves.
5 more saves.
What'd you do with my dice, Larry?
Right there. 5 more saves. Right there.
Yep, that's
I
one.
am dead.
Oh. He does. Luke Skywalker
Well,
cuts down Darth
He's
Vader.
not dead. His hand's cut off, and Luke has to think about things.
He's like, maybe I should go to that anger management class
I'm gonna
that
force reflexes and dodge.
the guy gave me the card about.
So that's my active.
Vader
It
is
was much
out.
cooler the way I did it. It looked cooler. He was standing on my dead carcass. That makes me very
You want
sad.
to know why that happened? Because you
Why?
broke the stick.
Let the hate flow through you.
Yes.
This is like, I'm like the saddest drummer. Look at this.
You are the saddest drummer. I'm sorry. Okay, well.
All right, to the Empire.
I will activate my ATST and explode your big man right there.
I don't like this plan.
I don't care. I'm doing it.
Don't do it.
I'm mad
What-
now.
what are you
I
gonna
got.
shoot?
I gotta recover my honor.
You're gonna shoot Luke?
What if?
What are you shooting?
I'm shooting this guy.
Okay.
Do
Screw
you
Luke.
Want to aim or move? Or are you gonna do it afterwards?
I am absolutely going to be aiming and shooting it up in your biz.
All right, she's angry. ATST right here. This is the first time in the game it's gotten to actually aim. So it's gonna aim and all the dice. Reroll all those misses.
No. Aim
what
lets
is
you
it?
reroll 2 misses. 2 dice.
Only 2?
Yes. Aim lets
Is
you-
it 2 per weapon or 2
it's
total?
2.
Check that.
It's 2 total.
She doesn't.
Because
have any
otherwise,
more.
you'd be firing 5 individual. All your infantry would fire 5 weapons, and then you get to reroll that many dice. It is 2 total dice.
Which
Okay.
dice are better, the red ones or the black ones? I'm just gonna go with the
double-
red and the black.
Yeah, the black ones I think are better.
Damn.
Alright. And you have a pierce of how many?
Impact 3.
Impact
So
3. Well, hang on.
all of those will be crits.
Well, one of them goes away because I have cover.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other 2 become crits. So these are
Wait,
all.
how in the world do you have cover? I have straight line of shot to
I'm a
you.
speeder bike. Because I'm a speeder, I have cover 1. Automatic. Just like your speeders have cover 1. 'Cause I'm really fast.
They're quick. All right, so that's 4 crits.
Oh, come on, Wedge!
Right there. 4 crits.
I believe in you!
Die.
Wedge.
Die a lot, please.
Here we
I
go.
need you to die a lot.
I
You guys
believe
just
in you!
really die a lot,
defense
please.
dice.
There's 1.
There's 2 dice. That's fine.
1 and
3
all right,
dice.
3 goes through.
3.
He's already taken
Ones.
2
So that.
2 left.
Alright, so roll your dice to see how badly hurt he is, Jen.
because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
bit.
It's the red one?
Yep,
Is
go
the
ahead.
red one.
How beat up is it? It's now injured.
He
That is
did a shield.
the shield.
Shield.
He explodes.
No, I think he only gets 1 action. Yep, he now only gets.
And disabled means you can't move.
Disabled, no. Disabled means it takes me more to move. So, he. No, that's. Yeah, and then he gets. So, when I activate it. Okay. So, when he activates, I roll a white dice.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets a. If it's a blank result, he loses 1 action.
Okay.
So there's a
Most of the
possibility
time.
that won't affect you at all.
Yes.
But that's every turn.
That
But
is
it's a
every
white
turn.
die, so he's almost certainly going. I mean, he has a 1 in 3
66
chance
chance.
of losing an action. Okay.
2 and 3.
Okay, and that is it for the ATSD.
Yeah, your
To
turn.
you. I know it's rough.
Don't like that thing.
This is Wedge's 1 chance just to get the heck out of Dodge before those guys light him up
Oh,
and
did
kill him.
you bring him up?
No, you did. Oh, you didn't. Okay, here we go.
This guy's activated.
All right, so it is one of the support units that Abe drew, so it has to be one of the ATRT. Well, it has
It has
the
to be.
one ATRT because the other one's already dead.
Yeah.
You have to avenge Darth Vader. Your general's dead.
I'm doing it.
I'm gonna be like, you're kidding
Bike's
me.
dying this turn. Or the speeder's dying this turn. It's happening.
Quite possible. I got a plan.
I guess I'm gonna.
I don't do well with all them bendy things. I just break them.
I'm going to.
It's because you were doing this, weren't you? You were flexing it. 'Cause that's the only way
I
would've-
had it in my hand. I think I was trying to put it back in, and I just worked it the wrong
Will
way.
you put that on the end there?
Yes, I will.
I am
Yes,
in range.
yes, they're
Okay.
in range.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
aim and fire at them.
All right.
Two hits. You ignore 1. Make a save.
No.
One goes through. Got him. There went the
Has to
miss.
be that guy.
There went the missile launcher.
Captains are overrated, and I hate them.
All
Missile
right.
launcher wouldn't know what to do without his captain. He'd be like, "Who do I shoot? I don't know
That
who to
makes
shoot."
no sense whatsoever.
Absolutely. Stormtroopers are specifically bred to follow a chain of command and not do independent thought.
Obviously, that didn't work out. Hashtag Finn.
Well, yeah, but that was something going wrong. And then he would have joined my side. So that's what happens if your stormtroopers get independent thought. They join me.
They become rebels.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
I'm mad.
Can't
back
have
to you.
that. To the Empire.
Oh, these are all face up, which would make
Yeah, but
very
like I
easy.
think I
I
want this.
choose this one.
All right. What unit's gonna go next?
Are
She's
waiting for me
pulling
to
from her
forget
command
who's
pool.
where. Okay. This one. Troop.
Troop. Well, you have still got
I'm
the
gonna go
big
for
gun.
that big guy.
Okay.
And they're going to aim and shoot at you.
Okay.
Okay. So we got those little 2-man units left, but they do have the laser rifle, the big cannon. The
Yeah. One of them is
DLT-19.
gonna use the concussion grenade. And
Ooh.
one of them is going to use the DLT 19.
Okay,
What's
so
the
you get-
concussion grenade
The
do?
concussion grenade just gives me a black attack die.
Okay, sure.
It's just an additional type
Yeah,
of
that's
attack.
fine, yeah.
And it's blast.
Which I ignore.
You don't take
Whoa.
blast wounds?
However,
No, I ignore the blast ability, not
Oh.
blast wounds.
okay.
It
Alright.
doesn't. Oh, they ignores cover. You don't worry about cover.
Okay, so we have a
Um,
crit and 2 hits, and that gun is impact 1.
Okay, so get rid of one
Well,
of those.
2 crit.
Well,
One of
yeah.
them go away, and one of them becomes a crit.
Yeah,
so
That's
2
correct.
crits.
So 2 crits on the speeder.
This could be it.
This could be it.
This could be it.
Are we doing rerolls for this game?
No.
Oh.
we are not.
Well, Darkman wants to give a reroll to the Rebels and donated 100 bits to do so.
Not this game.
I'm gonna
Sure.
unmod you so fast your head'll spin.
I guess I'll get a
Not gonna
reroll
do
since
that.
you paid for it.
That
No, we said no rerolls.
There is no rerolls.
We said before this game.
No, we didn't.
Yes.
Yes, we did. He said specifically no rerolls before this game started.
Alright.
Does the surge? Do
Sorry,
you have
Dark
surge?
Man.
I do.
Well, remind us next time we're playing 40k and you'll get a free reroll.
Which is in an hour.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're playing tonight.
We'll be playing tonight, so if you're sticking around,
We're doing
does another
double.
thing
We're doing
happen?
double
Another
header.
thing?
So we're doing this, and then we're doing our normal 40k game right afterwards. So you're not going to miss anything.
So Wedge lives.
He has 1 wound left.
1 wound left.
All right, Wedge. It's this guy right here. All right. Oh, that speeder is barely alive. It has 1 wound left, and that unit is done. Ooh, put your token on it because he's done. All right, to the rebels.
Yep. It is infantry time.
Both these armies are. You guys are getting faster. You guys are getting faster. Getting
Well,
the
there's less to
sequence
do.
now. There you go.
And for these again, it only matters if the commander is within range.
Right.
That's such a weird mechanic.
So yeah, I'm gonna fire these guys
On
At the
them
speeders?
bikes.
at them bikes.
Okay, so that's the big squad.
That is the big squad.
Okay, so that has the.
Grenade launcher.
It has the.
Grenade launcher.
It has the Z6.
Like a
No.
Z6, like
It
a
has
Z6.
The MPL 57.
Like an NPL. Like
does
an
it?
NPL.
Oh, he's part of the little squad. Oh, this thing's all arranged weird. There we go. Okay. Okay. Not with the Z6.
I need that. No, I need the black dice. Yep. All right.
Okay, watch out. Right here, these guys shooting on the speeders. Right here.
So that's a
Groups of
crit,
infantry.
a crit, and 3 hits.
God, that was crazy.
And then 2 more.
Okay.
So a crit, 2 hits, and 1 miss so far.
2 more surges.
2 more surges, which I don't do anything, so I'm going to use my aim token. I have precise 1, so I get to roll 3 dice. So
Okay.
I had 3 black misses. Nothing.
Yes, and 1 more. Yeah.
Nothing. Awesome.
All right.
Good job.
So 2 hits and a crit so
you
far.
ignore 1 because
I ignore 1 'cause cover.
Speeder.
Now, I again would argue
Mhm.
that that means 1 per dude.
No, because that is a unit ability, not a weapon ability. Definitely. That's definitely.
I definitely want to check into all of those idiosyncrasies later.
will get
'cause
the
those
pe-
things don't make sense to
Well,
me.
because
We will grab-
think about this, Jen. Your precise troopers, like the unit, you would get precise 6 out of a squad. So that would mean every time you use a command, like your infantry,
Yeah.
every time you use an aim token, you get to reroll 8 dice. If that were true.
Okay, moving on.
Just
Okay,
more
that
dice
makes
than they
sense.
actually-
No, I get you.
yeah,
I get
yeah.
you. That makes sense. Okay. What am I? How many am I rolling? Sorry.
2 saves.
Elcia and IC Drag 2002. Thank you for those follows.
There we go. These are 2 defense dice on these speeders.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Jen, what do we got?
I save
block.
1. I take 1.
Yep.
All right.
That is solid.
You are island.
Oh.
Did you put 1 over there?
Yep. I didn't
Dumb
put
ion
one.
token.
Yeah.
Just don't get double ion. That ion gun is really
Yeah,
irritating.
that is
It's
actually
it's
bad.
really
Like,
irritating.
I don't know. I actually immediately think like I don't know why I would take these Z6 troopers. They're kind of junk. I think they just spray a lot of bullets.
Although I do have to say that both of the stormtrooper heavy weapons are both good.
they're both
They're
good.
both real
they're
good.
solid good.
But
they're,
like-
they're solid.
Like
they're
if I
really
took 3
solid.
ion troopers and was just like that guy never gets to do anything.
Yep.
Right.
You
True.
always have 2 ion tokens on you. All right, so you got your dude.
The 1 dude, and he's got to use his normal attack because that's the only thing that's in range. So I'm going to.
Try to kill Wedge with the 1 dice.
Yup. And I'm gonna aim, obviously.
White dice.
That's this guy.
Yes.
All right, here it is. The one remaining trooper firing at Wedge with his rifle.
Ugh.
And she throws it right.
So, no.
Nothing.
Boop, 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 boop.
Nada.
He tried, but he's all alone and he's shaking in his little space boots.
And that is another infantry dude.
I mean, you can just take the remaining of yours. She's on.
No, I have one more, thank you.
Oh, what do you have?
I have
Oh,
my
the
life
speeders.
skills.
Sorry.
Jeez, Larry.
Sucks.
Can't help it.
Which sucks.
Why?
Blaze just hasn't gotten to go yet. Alright, so my Z troopers are going to aim and fire at. Or this squad's going to aim and fire at them. Yeah. It's one hit and a crit so far.
I can't remember. The compulsory move has to be your entire movement, right? It can't be partial.
Or you take.
I'm gonna go look at something while you guys are over here on the other computer.
And when you guys have a minute, can we go over which units are still alive on each side?
Yeah, so I have 2 units of stormtroopers left. I've got my commander over here, and I've got my commander and my specialty guy over here. I've got my ATST, and I have 2 speeder bikes.
So that's 4 hits and 2 crits.
Oh, okay.
You have cover, so that takes away 1. So that goes to 5 saves.
And who are you attacking?
The bikes.
I save 1.
Okay.
So 1 dies, and 1 has 2 wounds.
Alright. Close but no cigar for idiots.
Which is great, because now it's his turn.
It is his turn, so he gets to make his compulsory move. So what's alive right now is I've got Luke's alive here. Oh, you need to pick a new commander for your army, by the way. We'll go over that in a second.
My ATST.
Okay.
He's the guy with the biggest amount of wounds.
Sure.
Now, can I displace you?
No. Vehicles cannot displace vehicles. You can move through me, but I can't be displaced.
But I can move and pivot.
What do you mean?
I can move him and then pivot as a turn?
Yeah, that'll be your whole turn.
Because he only gets 1 turn.
And you can only pivot 90 degrees, not 180. Yeah.
I'm not going to move him yet, but I want to see what the range is on that. What the radius is. So that would put him here.
You could shoot these guys.
It's really his only option.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy's going to fly forward.
Yeah, and he's going to shoot your dudes.
Does he want to shoot the hurt unit or the unhurt unit?
The hurt unit.
Okay.
I need 1 each.
So Jen's got her ATST, which is basically unhurt.
Boom!
Does he have offensive surge?
Yes, he
Is
does.
it a crit or a hit?
It is a hit, and one of those become you ignore 1 because cover.
I ignore 1 because cover.
Oh wait, oh you get covered, right? So you ignore 1,
So 2
and then
dice.
1 becomes a crit.
Okay. Which doesn't matter in this situation. 2 white dice, please. So what's alive is Jen has her ATST alive.
I already did mine. Just do yours.
Huh?
I already said what was alive of mine.
When?
When you were going, you were doing your dice.
1 guy dies. The Duros.
And that's it for me.
That's it
so
for you.
Go Edge.
Wedge gets to go next.
He's done.
These guys are covered. Okay. So Wedge. Okay, so first, I roll this dice. Wedge does get to act normally. And then I'm gonna get my movement. Poor old beat up Wedge is gonna go there.
Chris Zenga, thank you for that follow.
And so for Abe's army, he still has his commander, Luke Skywalker. He's got a unit of infantry over here, 2 units left over here, one of which has 2 guys left. His walker guy there, and then his speeder.
So I'm gonna move for free, pivot, and then I'm gonna shoot.
So you get one more turn.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna shoot you.
Okay. So you get impact 1.
I do, which takes me up to impact 4.
All right, here we go.
Is pivot an action?
It
Yes.
Okay.
Thinking about it.
It's not smart to shoot him. I really want to kill your. I should probably try to kill your infantry, but assuming this, if we were assuming that this game was going to finish off, I would throw these attacks against it. So there we go.
Bam!
Do not have an offensive thing, but so this goes up to 4 crits. So that's 4 defensive rolls for you.
That's right.
Nice.
Do you have a defensive? You do have a defensive surge.
I do.
Alright.
I take 1.
Takes 1. Crazy! I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
And that's Wedge. And then final activation is these 2 guys. And they're going to
Not shoot that guy.
not shoot that guy, so I guess they'll aim and shoot those 2. No, they're going to finish with the speeder back. They'll aim and shoot the speeder back.
They gonna miss.
So I got 1 black dice, which crits.
Ugh.
And I get 6 white dice. So I still got my Z6.
So all miss.
It's 1 hit. It's 1 hit, and I'll spend my aim token to reroll 2 with the white dice. So that's 2 hits and a crit. So you roll 1 for cover, and make 2 saves. I mean, fail 2 saves. Sorry.
I'm going to make 2 saves. I'm going to make 1 save and fail the other one.
Somewhere an Ewok does a happy dance.
Alright, so that's the end of the turn, yeah?
That's the end of the turn, and that was the last turn we were going to play.
Yeah. So Abe got another point and I got nothing.
Right. So it should be. I've got 3 points for me.
No, 1. You only killed the other one. Or
Total
you
of 3.
killed 2.
Yeah, I killed 1 Vader.
Oh, and 3. Yeah, Vader.
And then.
That is not within 1. Oh, yeah, it is.
And then I am at her.
So 4 points.
Yeah. So I get 4. And then Jen got to 1. But super close to both killing this and that infantry squad.
Yeah, another turn would have definitely changed the
Would have
flow of
definitely
this.
changed it, yeah. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up our game here. You can see how the game, how that went. That was using pretty much all the rules. Obviously, we're flubbing a few things because we're new and just
We're
to
learning.
Just to
We will
keep
definitely
things,
be checking on some of the finer points of
Yeah.
how rules work one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to take a few minutes worth of a break, and then we're going to come back with a talk show with Larry and Abe.
Yeah, we'll be going over everything. But yeah, that's Star Wars Legion. Real quickly, Jen, what do you think?
Hey, so I like the simplicity of how everything works. I will be much less frustrated as a player once we know definitively the answers to the little idiosyncratic things. I find the card system at the beginning of the turns to be interesting. It definitely worked out more in my favor the last game that we played. I was really risky and tried out a lot of the things that Darth Vader did.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me that all of his ability modifiers are like negative to him in order to do something good somewhere else. So it's a double-edged sword, you know, dark side, yeah. That ATSD though, that's my boy.
And
He's
that model.
too legit to quit.
Yeah.
This model is just huge. Look at him.
Yeah. So we were talking about
He's as
doing
big as my head. Look
doing
at
a
him.
quick size comparison. This is
Oh yeah.
from another game. This is
Morty.
Mortarion. and you can see the ATST is actually taller
Just a little bit taller than Morty.
than his wings.
Just barely taller than his wings.
And pretty big.
He's got more legs than a bucket of chicken.
If you want to compare him,
He does. Look at those legs. Look at the bucket of chicken legs.
let's see, do we have
Okay, Yakko, 22. Thank you for that follow.
Yakko!
Thank
Where's
you.
Wacko and Dot?
grab that, grab that big red guy up there, would you, Jen?
Which big red guy are we talking about? We talking about this tank?
No, next shelf over.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah. So
Oh
this
God,
is
he's
the
heavy.
he's metal. Yeah. This is the Khador Behemoth, I think is what they're called. This one's not from War Machine. And you can see
He is shorter than the
Again,
AT-ST.
this is the one of the largest models in War Machine, so he is significantly shorter than the AT-ST. This guy comes up to like his hips, basically. A little beefier, obviously. The AT-ST does have a lot of, nice legs he's got to show off.
Yeah.
But still, very pretty cool comparison.
Yeah, I like it. This game system balances out really nicely.
Yeah.
It's good.
As someone who's only been playing 40K, who just learned 40K a few months ago, basically.
This is easier to pick up and go with.
Yeah.
Like, I came in knowing absolutely nothing about this the other day. We talked it through for like 2 hours and played a game, and I was like, okay, I get what's going on here.
Yeah.
But 40K, there's so much because you have to reference rule books and different pages, and there's so many things that aren't written.
Game and a half in, and she's already rules lawyering everything.
Sorry, I don't like losing. I don't like it. Yeah, it's easier to pick up with no knowledge and understand how to play it because of the way the cards are laid out. I love any game that gives you cards. Like when they did this for D&D, it made my freaking day because I can be like, here's my spell card. Boom.
It is easy. I mean, the one thing it does end up happening if you're not careful is if you can see on the side of my table here, like your army takes, like, your cards take up a lot of room.
Yeah.
Right? So like,
Especially when you get the modifiers to the little add-ons.
once you start throwing everything, so like if you look over here, that's my army list.
It's
Like,
big.
there's not an easy way of keeping that.
That's fair.
Some people, if you have lots of units that are the exact same with the exact same upgrades, you can kind of stack them up and just have one card. So like if I just had 3 units with Rebel Troopers and a Trooper and a Z6, I would just take one of those. And
I think that my ideal way of doing this would be to create a clear card sleeve with 2 sets of pockets in it.
Yeah.
One for the main card, and then on the reverse side, the add-ons. And if you have more than 2, that's fine. You can tuck them in there too. But like, so that they're together, and then I can just like have them all and like shuffle through them real quick.
Yeah, that's definitely the one downside to the card system is you do have this giant
Spread
pile of cards everywhere. But it plays fast. The models are really good.
The models are beautiful.
And like I said, we read the rules a week ago, basically.
He read the rules.
I read the rules.
Talked to me about them.
Yeah.
I have not touched the rules.
We played
at all.
for about 2 hours on Friday, messing around to learn the stuff, and we played today. And obviously, we're not perfect at everything, but we have a pretty good idea of how the game plays. We were able, we didn't have a ton of rules questions. There's those fiddly interactions which are all defined in the PDF.
And it's
PDF
nice that they're
things.
very explicit about every step of how it goes. And
Generally, they're PDFs, and if you haven't played other Fantasy Flight games before, like Armada or X-Wing, especially Armada, it does have this big glossary PDF or file that has everything really well defined in there. Their FAQs are really on point. So I'm certain if it hasn't been within a couple months of the game coming out, all the questions we have today will be very, very specifically answered. But I'm actually going to guess most of them are already answered. I'm not 100% sure if they've released all that stuff yet because the game's not out. So I don't think they've released most of those things. I don't think the rules reference is actually out yet.
So FFG Organized Play Twitter as of this morning said we'll be publishing the rules reference later this week. That should help.
There you
Nice.
go.
Great.
They're not.
Resources should come in and quick.
It is not out yet. The game comes out. I think they announced the release date is end of March.
That sounds right.
Like the 22nd or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're still more than a month out of release. So obviously they haven't put the rules out for everyone, and they haven't put an FAQ out yet. So, but we'll be back shortly with a talk show, me and Larry, and we might have Jen talk a little bit about her experience.
And then after that, we are going to play a game of 40K today, so you don't miss out on your 40K. Tomorrow, I believe we are going to play 40K, the first show, and then the second show we're going to do another game of this. I think it's you and Matt.
I think
Is
it'll
that
be me
right?
and Matt probably.
So you'll get some new players in, another game of it. And then on Wednesday this week, because we're doing so much new Legion content, we are not going to be broadcasting on Wednesday, I believe. We're doing some really great, really exciting edited content for you. We've got a special guest coming in who is going to do some fantastic hobby stuff with us that we're going to talk to you guys about soon. So Wednesday we will not be live, but you will be getting 4 full battle reports this week. And then Thursday we'll have our hobby stream as usual.
Course.
Sorry, no NeverQuest today for anybody who was waiting for it. We will be back with NeverQuest next week.
And Matt, what's happening in like an hour? What are we playing? What's the 40K thing today?
Oh yeah.
There's I don't know what the other side is, but there's gonna be a bunch of boys on the field.
Bunch of
Oh.
boys.
Yeah,
It's
I-
gonna
That's
be a what?
It's gonna be a good time.
What's it gonna be?
It's a good time.
What's the noise they all make?
They go. We love teeth. That's what they say.
Teeth,
That's what they say.
teeth, more teeth,
I'm
more
out.
teeth,
Matt's gonna be
more
playing with
teeth.
himself tonight.
Fuck.
Heyo.
Yeah,
Alright,
that's
guys.
it. All right, we're taking a break.
We'll
We'll
be
be right
back
back.
in just like 4 or 5
Pop
minutes.
any questions that you have about the system,
Yep.
about Legion, about Star Wars, and about Wargaming into the chat. We will be collecting those questions and answering them for you later.
Yeah. And we'll show off more of the models and cards if you want to see those too. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.
Happy Star Wars Day. What's the name of the holiday on
Wait,
Star Wars?
Life Day?
Life Day.
Life Day.
Life Day. Happy Life
What's
Day.
going on here? Why is there?
Happy Life
Hang on,
I
Day.
might have
just-
muted too many
Never
things.
just
mind.
like
I
sit
see
here
what
and
you
look
did.
really
Now
awkward?
you plugged me into the thing.
Are we good?
Oh yes.
Damn it. Yeah, you're good. You're
Are we
fine.
talking? All
I
right.
freaked
Yeah.
out because I couldn't hear you, but that's because there's a delay because that had
All right. So Star Wars Legion time. We got it. Look at these awesome. First of all,
Nice.
are you seeing how big this thing is?
So we
Look at that. Ari, look at this.
We did some
ATST.
comparisons earlier, for a second, but just again, like,
Oh, don't do that because that's gonna break.
okay. Well, how about that big Redemptor?
There we go.
So this is the big Redemptor Dreadnought from 40K. It's a big thing, or is it? Like, that thing is dwarfed.
It's pretty small.
Yeah.
It like maybe can jump up and like try to
Try to high five it.
like
or
high
something.
five it
Yeah.
maybe.
So yeah, this is Star Wars Legion. It's the new game from Fantasy Flight.
Uh-huh.
It is going to be coming out towards the end of March, I think.
Mhm.
And it is
About a month from now.
Yeah, it is a full-scale miniature war game.
As you can tell,
It's like roughly 32 millimeters.
it's big.
scale?
It's bigger.
Yeah.
It's slightly bigger. I don't. People always say like, how big is it? FFG has officially announced no formal size for this
Right.
game, so all you can do is just look at the miniatures and compare them to other miniatures. But but the Stormtrooper, we did a side-to-side comparison.
Yeah.
They're roughly the height of a Primaris Marine.
Yeah, so
like
it's
they're pretty tall.
It's a little bigger than like a 28 millimeter game.
Yeah,
but-
probably
but-
like approximately 30.
Yeah, so I'm not certain exactly the scale, but they're big, beefy models. They do come unpainted and unassembled. You do have to assemble and paint them.
Yep.
We got this all painted up for your viewing pleasure.
Yep, we got the
last
2 full
week.
armies all painted up
Mhm.
for you guys. And I mean, the models are large.
Yeah.
The vehicles, so far, the vehicles that we've seen appear to be completely incorrect scale with the infantry.
Yeah.
So
Fox
like,
Jester, thanks for that donation.
So
Tootsie
this-
Bob, thanks for that follow.
so
Hey,
this,
thank you.
so this thing is, this is the big, the ATST. This
Mm-hmm.
is definitely the big prestige unit of the initial launch wave for the Empire. As you can see, it's huge. For the Rebels, it's the speeder.
And these are both very detailed models.
Yeah, they're exceptionally detailed models.
Um,
Aventine, when he was painting this one,
Yeah.
he said that he went online and tried to find really detailed other models of the ATST from other kits, and he said the closest one he could find that was apparently the most detailed ATST kit that you can buy
Right.
was from Bandai, and he could find nothing that kit had on it that this
Like
kit
this
doesn't.
have it, yeah.
So
very
it's
detailed.
really impressive.
There's a
really
ton
impressive.
of detail on the the airspeeder as well.
Yeah.
And these kits are not very many pieces.
No.
The snowspeeder, for instance,
It's about
this,
10.
This whole body
And
is
it's-
one piece.
Yep.
Each of these guns is a separate piece that slots right in. You've got a piece on the back. You've got these flat pieces.
Yeah, those can be assembled kind of in the up or down.
Yeah.
You've seen the Empire Strikes
Yeah,
Back. so
and there
there's
are
those
some little struts you can put in there if you want to.
And it has a lot of landing gear bits if you want to assemble it like with landing
No,
gear.
it doesn't actually. No, it has these back pieces, I think, right
Oh,
there.
okay, that's what they were.
There's these little.
Oh, that's what they are. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
There's
it's
a
got
little hydraulic struts on the
Flaps in the back, and then there's some things you can put in there. So, I mean, really about 8 pieces to
Yeah.
build.
We have we have unboxings for all of these.
Yep.
They're on the Bell Lost Souls YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube/Bell Lost Souls, and they're all there
Yeah, so if you want to see more details about them, but
with us
yeah,
unboxing them,
with
so you
us.
can just spend more time with us.
But you hear a lot of chatter on the internet that people are worried about the quality of these models, and
They're great.
they're amazing. I mean, even
Yeah.
the infantry look really good.
Yeah.
There's cool poses. I think this guy is great. Like that's
Yeah.
a classic cool
Yeah, the
pose.
speeder bike guy. He's leaning back, shooting his pistol.
Yeah.
And also the speeder bikes. The speeder bikes are super detailed. Like they're mold. There's the concept that some of these kit. There was a question of, are these kits like quick assembly things, or are these actually hobby kits for people? Is this a game that actually is going to have a hobby component? The answer is clearly yes. Like, as an example, the speeder bike had enough parts on it. It has, the handlebars, and it has the forward vanes and the little, all those are separate pieces. So this is actually, you definitely are going to have to pull out your hobby skills.
Yeah.
The only thing that all of these products don't have, because they're FFG products, is they don't come on sprues.
They don't come on sprues.
So all the parts are already cleaned up, cut out, and in bags, but you will have to fully assemble them yourself.
Yeah, there's a little bit of posability on some of them.
And there's always a certain amount of cleanup that you can do with a
Yeah.
hobby knife if you want to, make sure there's absolutely not a mold line on them at all. So you can do that kind of stuff. The infantry in general are about 2 to 4 pieces
Yeah.
within a squad. Like average troopers are 2. It tends to be 1 piece for the kind of head, torso, legs, and then there'll be a secondary piece that's both arms and the weapon.
Yeah.
And they'll have like pegs on the shoulders. So you just kind of
Glue in,
get them on there and glue them. Some of the squad leaders might have like a separate head or kind of more interesting.
So you got a little variation.
poses.
You got a few ways you can pose things. Most of them are pretty mono pose, but that's fine. It's like so the models are less complex to build than say a Games Workshop model,
That's correct.
but more along the lines of maybe like a War Machine model, if you
Sure.
something like that.
Also, while they are monopose, within each squad there are no duplicates.
There are no duplicates
So
of the
so once
squads.
you build, that squad of stormtroopers, they are all different.
They are all different,
which is
yeah.
nice. Now, if you buy multiple squads, they'll all look the
They're
same.
all like fairly the same. There's little ways you can make them look different, but I think that the quality, the plastic is a good plastic. I didn't see any problems with that.
Mhm.
Aventine painted everything. Didn't report any problems painting anything.
Yeah, he said that
Building
he
anything?
thought that the stormtroopers, which as you can tell here are stormtroopers, they were white with a black wash
Yeah.
that he kind of wiped down, and they came out looking great.
Yeah.
Like he said, he was really expecting. He did not expect that with the relief that they would have in the
Mm-hmm.
in the details, that they'd come out looking as good as they did. So he was able to wrap this whole both of these armies up in under a week.
An underweight, yeah. So I mean, if you spent a lot more time on them, you'd get more details, obviously.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they still look great, especially like the big walker. It doesn't take a lot because Imperial walkers are gray.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot to bring out all that great detail.
It's gray.
So I really actually like the models. They're good quality. They look really beautiful. I mean, this airspeeder
Is like I want 3 of them.
right. It's a beautiful.
It's
mod.
really cool.
As far as the gameplay itself, obviously we just streamed a game. If you saw that,
You guys just saw it, so
but it's quick to pick up and
Yeah.
pretty quick to play. I mean, we were talking about like, is this a slow game or not? And I think you have to understand that me and Jen had never played a game before. I mean, we played half a game on Friday, basically.
right. This is our second
This is
game.
our second game. We didn't use all the rules on Friday, so we used all of the rules today. Played a full 800 point, which is supposed to be the tournament
Yeah,
size.
yeah,
game.
that is So those are full armies.
That's a full army, full table, using all the rules for the first time while streaming and answering questions. And we didn't finish the game, but we got through 3 turns of a game in 3 hours, just a little over 3 hours.
Right.
Which, for comparison, is about how much we get through a 40K game.
Where everyone knows how to play.
Yeah, where everyone knows how to play. So,
Yeah.
And in that three turns, by the end of it, it was fairly clear how the rest of the game was.
Yeah.
Like we had decided a lot.
Yeah,
of
those
things.
were the slow 3 turns because
Yeah.
all your armies are at full size.
Yeah.
in
So
the,
I
in
mean,
the early part of the game.
I mean that's a quick game to pick up. Now
Yeah.
obviously we're experienced players, gamers and stuff.
Yeah.
So we but yeah, that's a quick game to pick up.
I mean, the mechanics. This is as I've been writing about on Bowls and talking about this. This game is going to be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So this game. It is a contender. It's coming into the industry. It's Star. I mean,
This is Star Wars,
it's Star Wars. It's tabletop. It's full miniatures and hobby. It's got the finances and marketing weight of FFG behind it. So this is going to be here to stay.
Right.
There's a good amount of it's launching right out of the gate with I want to say approximately 10 different more.
They
More.
said that at release, which is going to be in March,
Sure.
it's coming out with this box
Okay.
and 8 expansions to it.
Okay.
They have not released exactly what those 8 expansions are.
Right.
It's pretty clear that this is one. So there's the infantry expansion. There is
expansion.
the AT-RT expansion, the Snowspeeder expansion,
There's 3.
the Stormtroopers, the bikes, and the AT-ST. So those are 6 of them.
That's 6 right there.
For certain. I'm not certain what the other 2 are. In addition to those, they have announced the General Veers expansion,
And the Snowtroopers.
the Snowtroopers, the
Rebel
Leia,
Fleet.
and the Rebel Fleet Troopers.
Right. So there's 4 right
That's
there.
4 more. I don't know when those are coming out. It's possible that when they say 8 expansions, 2 of those, one of those, because of how FFG counts things, sometimes
Right.
that could mean it's a dice pack and,
Right.
then a measuring or a range
Yeah.
ruler and
But if you
measuring
count
unit.
up, if you count it up at its most inclusive,
Sure.
you're still talking about there's roughly a dozen as of today.
Announced.
There
Yeah.
are a dozen different actual miniatures products
Yes.
that are out there, 6 per
Yeah.
side, which
And-
is which is
yeah. So
which is pretty good.
not all of those may be available at release,
Right.
but it seems like
But
that
they're probably going to be really soon.
really close because they've already announced that they've already been spoiling stuff.
Yeah.
They've got the miniatures, so and that's just right now. So FFG is not a company that just especially with these kind of games, they're miniature games. They're gonna back behind it. It's gonna, it's not something you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Well, if it doesn't sell good, and
it's
they're
gonna be
cut it real quick or
No,
something.
no.
So this is a game that's gonna be here for
To stay.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, do we have any quick questions?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
5
so-
minutes of questions.
So now, as we get into questions, note that we have the core rulebook that comes with the game, which is basically all the basic rules. There is a PDF that is available online only that is the super detailed rules. It's basically the rule index, so it's going to have all the weird cases and the exact specifics. That is not out yet, so nobody has that. FFG said that that's going to be announced on
Friday.
That'll be released on Friday.
Yeah.
So we're everyone is limited as to if you ask us really squirrely rules, we're not going to be able to look those up.
So yeah, what do we got?
What do we got?
All right, so Synthetic Divine wants to know why Luke can't force crush the ATSDs.
Because this is Luke at Cloud City. This is Luke, but when he hasn't completed his training and he runs off before learning how to do those things.
Boom, done.
There we go.
He failed.
Ringo Dingo Doo says, important question.
Yep.
Is it fun?
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Jen, you played. What do you think?
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I always find the learning process of a game to be somewhat frustrating because I want to understand all the rules.
But at the same
as you
time,
could see, but once I figured out all those rules, then absolutely, this is a game that I would play.
so as a comparison, how do you feel about like your level of comfort and ability to play the game and understand what's going on 2 games into this, as opposed to after you'd finished, say, 2 games of Warhammer, your first two games ever?
I feel like I know much more about this game and the way it works than I did about Warhammer.
Okay, so there's a comparison to someone who is, relatively, new to tabletop wargaming. I think it's really fun. I think that I like that they've definitely made some design choices that are very different.
Sure.
So it is going to end up being a very unique experience within tabletop. Like I really like. Obviously, it has interleaved turn sequences, so you go, I go doesn't exist in this game. So there's lots of people out there in the universe, you all know who you are, that are like, I go, you go sucks, and if you do the most perfect game system should be interleaved, and if you believe that, there you go. Here it is.
Also, as a more old school player, you might describe me as an old school player in some ways. I enjoy having vehicle facings, and having to maneuver my vehicle so that they're facing the right way to shoot, and worry about people getting behind me.
Yep.
And we didn't get to use all the cool interactions, but there are cool interactions like the harpoon gun can pivot an enemy vehicle, so it's pivot the wrong way.
Mess people up.
Yeah, you have like force push, so you can throw enemy infantry units away from you and stuff.
Right, that's really cool. As we start to get into other more advanced missions where there's objectives and you're trying to gain ground, there's definitely going to be a lot of shenanigans to be had there, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to like harpoon your thing and turn it all around, so it's going to have a hard time. So now you're going to have to waste a turn to try to get on the objective and stuff like that. Yeah,
so I mean, we're playing. The biggest thing I think we're missing is we don't have all the rules for terrain, because that's specifically in the PDF. So we're kind of faking it with terrain right now.
Right, because
which didn't make a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a paragraph that's basically decide how your terrain's going to operate and work it out with your player, with your opponent, and then that's how terrain's going to work for this game. And then there is a set of how you do it in competitive games, or if you can't agree, but that's in the PDF, which we will all see on Friday.
Yeah. But I mean, just like when I was looking at that, and I was like, oh man, like I could like fly up and like harpoon the ATSD to turn it away from me so it can't shoot, and then ion it so that all it can do is pivot. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, I mean, you got a harpoon gun. Like,
someone's super excited
like,
about Star Wars.
How could you not love that you can have a snowspeeder that has a harpoon gun and can like turn vehicles random places? Like that's just cool. So
it is really cool.
I think it's really fun. What do we got next there?
Fox Jester would like for you to go over how movement works, the measurement system.
So it's real easy. You've got the 3 movement things here. You're gonna have a speed of 1, 2, or 3, and when you move, for infantry, you take your squad leader here. You place the movement thing anywhere on their base.
Right there.
Like, for instance, you can turn it if you want.
You pick them up.
You move them. You don't have to move them to the end. You can stop them anywhere along this.
Right. Yeah. It's not mandatory.
So let's say
it's the max.
He wants to go there. You move him there, and then you place the rest of his unit within coherency, which is this one distance of him. So you just go, all right, he's moved there, and bam, there's the squad.
and fair.
That's infantry movement. Vehicle movement is slightly more complicated, only in that they have these notches at the front.
Mhm.
So when you move, you have to put it into the notch rather than any place around.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move to the end of it. You move again.
Right. To the end of it or less.
Or less. Vehicles can move backwards if they want, but they always move the slowest distance backwards.
Okay.
Or they can pivot 90 degrees as a move.
Cool.
So pretty simple. I actually like people. Again, this is one of the things that people that's very Fantasy Flight is using these kind of movement tokens or movement things. I actually don't mind them. Some people complain about them. I think that when it comes to infantry movement, it's very fluid and it's
pretty fast.
It's not really any different from using a tape measure for infantry.
Yeah, once you in theory, any extra complexity that you're going to any extra time that you would lose in kind of the fact that it bends and is in theory slightly more complex than a ruler is more than made up for by the fact that everyone who's not the sergeant, you just pick them up and put them right next to it.
Yeah.
So
and then when it comes to the vehicles, I actually think it makes the vehicles move pretty fun and
I
uniquely.
do like I really do like that
yeah,
concept that
where-
there's front armor, that there's
Yep.
facing matters and vehicles are kind of tricky and you can get behind them and
Yeah.
flank them. And you're like, quick, get behind the ATST and light it up. And
So I think that's really cool, and I actually think it adds a lot of strategy and depth to the
Yep.
game.
I think it does too. As far as measuring things, you have your little FFG measuring stick. You get 4 of these in the box set. I assume that the
They're
reason
all the same,
that
right?
the reason that they did this is just because they needed to fit in the box.
Well,
so
sometimes
it's 2
it
of
makes
these,
it easier to
and they're
measure
modular, so
shorter
you can
ranges,
So like if you have a ranged 1, you can just separate 1 and measure it, or 2, and there's 4 of these and they all go together. So
but you
all
can-
your measuring is done with these, and all weapons in the game so far range band 1 through 4.
There's nothing. Well, that's not all weapons are range band, but nothing's less than 1 or longer.
Correct.
than 1,
Yeah.
except for melee. Yes.
Sure.
And don't let Jen play with them.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
Do not ever let a Jen play with them.
Because it'll be bad.
Yeah. Next question.
Ring-a-ding-a-doo wants to know how bendy are the minis? Can you bend a stormtrooper gun?
I mean, a little, but I wouldn't like. If I bent it more than this, it feels like it wiggles a little bit. But if
Yeah. The plastic has a little bit of bend to it, but it is not that like really, really super bendy stuff that you would see, say, from like a lot of board games these days that have like that really kind of flexy. It's not at all.
It's not. There is a section in the core book that's like, hey, if your guys are a little warped, you just put them in some hot water to straighten them out. So they obviously like any other plastic, it can get a little warped, but it is not designed to be really bendy.
And also note that there is also a difference in the plastics. All of the models, so all of the infantry, are a certain type of plastic. It has a slight amount of bend. Like you can kind of bend the arms to get them onto the pegs, onto the shoulder pegs. You can get them in there. But the vehicles are hard plastic. The vehicles are I would assume that they're the exact plastic that's used on like Armada models.
Probably, yeah.
It's that stuff. So that's like scale model, tanks and stuff.
But
That's
the
a very different
But
plastic.
yeah, the guns aren't really that bendy. They're pretty small and pretty stiff. The lightsabers are a tiny bit, but they're not really like no more than a sword in a 40K model or something.
Yeah.
A thin piece of plastic, really.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
Synthetic Divine wants to know, is it viable to create an army composed of nothing but a ton of Darth Vaders?
I mean, if you play with a friend, sure. You do whatever you want with your friends. I mean, obviously, you can only take one Darth Vader as the rules are written. You may take. He is a unique character.
Right.
You can take one of him, and one of the interesting things that Fantasy Flight does is it is the Darth Vader. I don't remember the one, but like this is the Luke Skywalker, hero of the rebellion.
Right.
Oftentimes they will have other versions of Luke.
Yep.
Maybe he will be a pilot of a vehicle. Maybe
Right,
he'll
that's
be,
true. Yep.
Luke Jedi Farm Boy or Luke Jedi, Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight at a later point. Generally, their rule is because it's the Luke Skywalker and it has like a
They
diamond
put the dot.
Yeah.
There's the FFG. There's the universal symbol of if it has the black dot next to the
Yep.
name, you may only have one of them in your army.
Yeah. So if you later on, the question is like, if they ever did a Clone War, how would they do Anakin? Like, could you have Anakin,
it's like
and Darth
Anakin
Vader?
and Darth Vader, right? Are
Yeah.
they the same?
Whoa.
That's an argument for a future supplement.
Yeah.
Alright, Chris Senga wants to know,
Okay.
are there terrain rules like an X-Wing?
I mean, like we said earlier, kind of, there are rules for terrain. They are not in the main book, really. there are some very basic rules for like barricades and blocking line of sight.
Yeah, there's rule for basically like basic cover.
Yeah.
Is all that's in here. But there are supposedly an advanced set of terrain rules. Those will be coming out on Friday. No one knows what they are.
And there are, and you can kind of guess a few things like the speeder rules. Say if you're a speeder 1, you can ignore terrain of height 1.
Oh, sure.
If you're a speeder 2, you can array terrain of up to height 2.
Right. So they're
you
going to
can,
have.
You can kind of guess that there's some kind of standardization where you pick how high the terrain is,
Right.
And it has a standardized height no matter what the actual models.
Yep.
No matter what's actually on the table. We've seen that before. Older editions of 40K had stuff like that. I think War Machines had a similar thing.
Sure. Yeah. There's different
maybe
heights.
Dust Tactics had something like that, I think. So we've seen that in other war games where you categorize each terrain of like a 1 to 3 before a game,
Right.
and then that's how tall it counts as basically. So you can kind of guess that kind of thing. I think some of the missions may also affect terrain. So there's some things like that. There are rules for climbing somewhere.
Yes, there are.
Because these guys are super good at climbing and have
Right.
a special rule that says they like ignore restrictions about climbing. So
Which is cool. So
and you can get grappling hooks, so you can kind of guess at some of the terrain rules, but those appear to be in the PDF.
Yeah. I mean, the things so far that I like about the game, so we have, that make it distinctive, where they've definitely said, we want this to be, it's Star Wars and it's a tabletop miniatures game, but we want it to be its own thing. The interleave turn sequence right off the bat.
Sure.
The random drawing your orders from the stack.
From the stack,
That's
yeah.
really interesting because you have there's the combination of the orders, which gives you some manual control over what's the important part of your army that's going to go first versus the drawing randomly from the stack and how that interacts with army construction. That's a really cool thing that I haven't seen anywhere else.
And one of the things we didn't really talk about, but I actually really there is a lot of tactic in the command cards because it's not only what you want to activate first, it's you get to choose when you're going to activate that.
Okay.
So, for instance, because you can either when you play a command card, you put a face-up token next to a number of units specified on the command card, and when you activate it, you can either choose to activate one of those units or draw something from the stack.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you watched our game, I really wanted Wedge to go last one turn.
Right.
If I had chosen him as part of my order, which I didn't think of it at the immediate moment, but if I had chosen him, then I could have known I could have him go last.
Right.
Because then I could just draw out of the stack and get rid of everyone else,
Mhm.
and not randomly draw Wedge when I didn't want him to.
And that is I haven't seen that mechanic anywhere else.
So that's
that's a very different thing.
It's a pretty cool mechanic. So you can go really slow one turn. There's a lot of strategy in there. I also like that they are leaving. FFG does this a lot of times, but they've definitely learned how to that this is the beginning of a game, and they're leaving a lot of wide open areas to add stuff in later.
Yeah.
One of the things they talk about is that cards might have certain alignments.
Sure.
You could have a unit alignment or like a unit specification, which means you can only be attached to a certain type of unit.
Sure.
You could have a faction one, which means you can only be Rebel or Imperial right now.
Right now.
Or there's I think it's just called alignment, which is light or dark side.
Sure.
So you can only be attached to a light side or a dark side thing.
Yep.
Right now, the Rebels are the light side, the Imperial is the dark side. But when you see something like that, that's clear that there's going to be some other faction because there's no reason to
those
have
are
that.
rules hooks.
Yeah.
Right, because if there was no intention to add other factions, that would just be Rebel or Imperial.
Or Imperial,
and they're
right.
not. And they're like,
Yeah.
So I think, and I mean, as we were talking about during the game, Star Wars ground action as opposed to say fleet actions, where it's kind of a little more quasi. When you're into the ground, action, there's lots of different factions out there that they could extend into. There's so many things. The Clone Wars, or from
Wars,
Rebels. There's so much stuff.
I mean, even if you wanted to do the sequels, I mean, there's at least 5 or 6 types of First Order troopers, right?
Oh, sure.
And some vehicles, and then Rebel, and then Resistance stuff. So you have enough there to easily make stuff. So
and they're going to do all the heroes.
They're going to do all
every
the
character who's important.
How many Jedi are there that you could have awesome models of? Right?
Oh yeah, all of them.
Like all of them, exactly.
Yep.
So there's some cool things that they're clearly leaving hooks there too.
Synthetic Divine wants to know: do you expect there to be any unit more powerful than Yoda? And if so, why are you wrong?
I mean, Darth Sidious did throw the entire Senate at him. I mean, like the whole thing, literally.
He picked it up.
He picked it up and threw it at him. So that would be
There
the
we
more
go.
powerful unit. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, they're gonna make
all
Yoda.
right.
Yeah.
So he
Just
also wants to
what
know:
Yoda?
does Luke receive a negative modifier to dice if you tell their player that you are their father?
No.
I mean, that would be a cool special mission card, but it would only be if like you reveal a paternity test and you are their father in that, like in real life.
Get Mario Povich in here.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird.
I mean, it's weird. But...
This is bowls, baby.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's weird.
Chris Sango wants to know: are there terrain rules? Like in? Oh wait, we did that.
Yep, I already did that.
That didn't go. I tried to delete it and it didn't delete. Tony and Chloe wants to says, "I love the show. How hard is this to pick up if you are a beginner tabletop player?"
Pretty easy. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's going to be really easy.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about Jen. I mean, Jen, the only other like tabletop game you played is 40K, right? Like war game.
Yeah, like
Right,
tabletop
right,
with
right.
miniatures, you're building armies.
Yeah.
So I mean, Jen got into this kind of tabletop wargaming about 8 months ago, and she's played 40K, but I mean, she's still a newer player, and she was able to pick this up and rule lawyer, 4 hours into playing basically.
Oh, yeah. She was fighting for
Yeah.
all kinds of crazy combos.
Which is
that's
great.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
So it means that she's comfortable enough that she's not just like, oh, I don't understand any of this. Tell me what dice to roll,
Right.
So it's pretty easy. I mean, I'm a more experienced wargamer. I was able to pick it up quickly, but the fact that Jen, who has played a lot of games.
I mean, as an example, also, if you're worried about like, oh my god, this game is really complicated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the rule book.
Yep.
And as you can tell, I mean, this is just a little pamphlet.
Not a ton.
And there's a lot of pictures.
And
in
there's
there. There's a lot of big
There's the
diagrams.
basic rules also.
Yeah, the basic rules stop.
There's
Let's
the
go to the basic rules. Action.
Right there.
Right there. Okay,
So
so
there's-
the basic rules end on page 16, and they really start the first, and they start on page 6.
Yeah.
So all the early stuff is just like how to assemble the models.
Yeah, and that's
So-
enough to play.
Yeah, I mean it's about as complicated at the introductory level as X-Wing is.
Yeah.
It's not. There's not a lot of rules.
Possibly even simpler than that because the big thing is because the movement is so much more freeform and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a much more forgiving game. You're not, unless you're playing like an all airspeeder list and being really uncareful.
Right.
You're not going to be like flying your stuff off the table like Matt or anything like that.
That's true.
So it is a pretty forgiving game in a lot of ways, and gets all that. I mean, it's quick to pick up, forgiving ultimately, and it's just a really good game that I think will be really easy for everyone to pick up.
Yeah, I think I mean, if you like Star Wars and you're at all interested in tabletop gaming, I mean, this is it.
And again, another important thing is because everything's on cards in front of you, you don't have to memorize a lot of stuff.
Right.
It's great if you can, but you don't have. It's really easy to have that visual representation. That's a big plus for newer gamers.
Yep.
They can have everything they need to know right in front of them all the time.
Yeah, you put the cards, as we did, you put them out on the edge of the table and just all your references there. And
Yeah.
you put little wound markers on them, so it's pretty easy to keep track of everything.
Yeah, definitely. Next question, Jim?
Chris Sango wants to know: are you supposed to interchange the AT-ST front gun as per the buff card shows?
I don't think.
No.
I
So
believe those are add-ons that you take
So
to the card
this-
itself.
So it always comes with
it
the main
always
gun.
comes with the main gun, and then you can take up to 3,
Other weapons.
and these guns here
Or-
are optional. You can take them on or off. We put all of them on. You can take all 3 of them or none of them, so you can build your model however you want.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
or without those on it.
Yeah, so this one is mandatory, and then there's 3 optional ones.
Yes,
that
this
you
is the
can-
mortar. This is the blaster cannon, the extra blaster
And
cannon.
that's
this
like a grenade
concussion
launcher.
grenade launcher. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are certain builds
That you can fire all.
that
of
you can fire all 4.
Yeah.
Which is going to be super crazy. There's a character who comes in the pack who you can buy and add to it, and he lets you fire. So it can always fire 2 weapons.
Yep.
And you can buy this guy who lets you fire 2 additional ones.
Yeah.
So that would be really scary.
Yeah. It does make it like almost 300, like almost half your army.
Yeah, it makes
It's very
it really,
expensive at that
It
point.
is very
Yeah.
expensive.
And it can still just be like ioned out. So, but it's a balancing thing. I think it's a good balance.
Sure.
So yeah.
Synthetic Divine wants to know: what about those who believe the Empire was the light side and the Rebels were the dark side?
Well, then,
Aren't they being a bit unfair in their alignment classification?
No.
no.
But I do want to point out that from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Okay.
You know, I'm not disagreeing with him, but he's wrong, unfortunately. I didn't write the rules.
Admech wants to know: should Games Workshop be working?
I think we're gonna see.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been coming a long time. This isn't new, right? This was announced at Gen Con in August, and I mean, I think in general, once we saw Imperial Assault come out 2 years ago,
Longer than that.
3 years ago, you know, Imperial Assault was a board game.
Yeah.
Was a board game with a slightly smaller scale, with, you know, kind of more, you know, bendy, plain piece miniatures, but they're still miniatures. So, you know, at that point, I think that kind of put the notion into people's head, hey, we're not, you know, this is probably only a matter of time until there's going to be a Star Wars tabletop game. But I personally, like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to have to wait and see how the market reacts and what people buy. But I think that I would in no way be surprised if, you know, 2 or 3 years down the road, we're going to see that these are both big, vibrant games. They're both going to be being played on the tabletop. You're going to have 40K players on one side of the game, you know, store. You're going to be having a lot of Legion on the other side, and they're both going to have big, full, giant ranges of miniatures.
I mean, if it was 3 or 4 years ago, I would say absolutely. When Games Workshop was still kind of figuring some stuff out.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I would have said, yeah, absolutely, they should be worrying. At this point, I think there's a pretty good chance that they can both coexist.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's
different.
Yeah, I think it's some of the smaller other niche games
are going to have a real...
that are the ones that more have to worry, because if you're like, well, games like 40K is my main game, I'm going to play one other game.
Right, and it's going to be Legion,
It's
because it's
gonna-
Star Wars,
yeah.
or whatever, right.
So they're the ones who might have to worry a little bit more, but I think, ask us in like 3 years.
Yeah, I also think 8th edition, I mean, this is a brand new game,
Yeah.
right? No one's played it. It's coming out next month. But at the same time, you know, yes, 40K has been around for 30 years, but 8th edition is an entirely different game.
Yeah.
Like, it's new. It was built from the ground up, and 8th edition is 8 months old. So this is this weird kind of intersection right here in the industry where we're seeing the two major players in the industry with the, you know, the two biggest companies with the most money are putting out directly competing games, really strong licenses, you know, and but the games are very different.
The games are very different.
So I don't think, you know, I agree with Abe. I think it would have been a much riskier move for either company if both the games rules wise had been very similar.
Sure.
Because then people would have been like, well, these games are really similar, so I'm going to choose this one or this one.
Yeah.
But they're different enough. Like one of the issues I always have with tabletop games is I hate tabletop games that are like 80% similar because I get rules confused. It's really difficult. But once the games are divergent enough, I can kind of keep them mentally aside easily. There's not going to be any confusion.
No, and
between 40K and this.
Legion may pick up
as you
older
play.
players, honestly, which is it's a weird thing to say because Star Wars feels like a young person thing. But I think you're going to have people who are wanting more complexity than 8th edition offers sometimes.
Sure.
Who are older Games Workshop players who miss some of the things like vehicle facings that this game offers.
Right.
And really like the original trilogy of Star Wars, and this is going to be a big draw for them.
Yeah, like if you're a Games Workshop player and you really like that kind of, you really want a lot more gritty detail in your game, you have two choices. You're going to, if you don't want to just play an older edition of the game and try to find people who are playing older editions of the game, you're going to either have to do Horus Heresy,
Yep.
and you're going to have to buy all that stuff, find Horus Heresy gamers, buy all the miniatures, and do all that stuff, which is, you know, it's awesome and it's totally cool, but, you know, that is a very particular thing, or you can go this route.
Sure.
Which, you know, $89.
Yeah.
$89.
And I mean, yeah, so the other big question is going to be, I think if they only have two factions, it's not going to be, Games Workshop don't have, they're going to have to build up the range more. They've done a really good job of starting off the bat with that. They're going to have to keep that momentum up, and it's going to need more factions to really keep people interested in it.
I agree. That is, I think the issue isn't the rules.
Nope.
The issue isn't the license. The issue is going to be FFG is going to have to get on the conveyor belt, and they're going to have to start cranking out
stuff.
units and factions as fast. Like, this game needs 3 factions as soon as they can do it.
And it's not a game, if they want it to compete, if they want it to compete with something like 40K, it's not a game that can go 6 months between releases like some of their other games do.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's what they want those games to do. So,
Right.
But if they're looking for that, it's going to have to put stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another question?
And luckily, with the incredible depth that the Star Wars universe has, I mean,
There's so many options.
yes, yeah. I mean, this is not a game that's going to be afflicted by like, oh, there's just not enough units. I mean, there's hundreds
Oh, yeah,
of different things that can be made for this game.
Yep. Boffin spies, so they can die for you.
Ring-a-ding-a-doo wants to know what size sleeves you need for each of the cards.
They are standard FFG card sizes.
Yeah. So there's the main.
So it's exactly the same as every other FFG card
yeah,
game.
they've got the big ones and the small ones.
Yep.
The big ones are roughly standard playing size card, I think.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It's go to FFG's website and look at
And they have
because they
them.
sell sleeves and they list what they are. They are just the standard.
Yeah.
It's the exact same size cards that X-wing uses.
The X-wing, Armada, and Room Wars all use.
Yep. There's the big ones and the little ones.
Yeah.
Chris Sengo wants to know, can covered be destroyed by an ATST cannon?
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a no. We'll find out when the true. I don't know whether or not players can agree to say like this terrain is destroyable.
Yeah.
Maybe they can. We don't know.
I would guess at some point, though, it seems pretty obvious that they're going to put out, whether it's as a terrain piece or whether it's as a unit, the Rebel turrets from Hoth. You've got like the big turret with the gun.
Yeah,
because
because I bet those are coming.
And then the big one with the disc. Those are destroyable.
And don't forget, there's those guns that like the fleet troopers had inside the.
Oh yeah,
There's like Imperial
turbo lasers.
Yeah. There's like turbo. There's all kinds of cool stuff
Yeah.
that they could make.
So those things there may be some kind of fixed emplacement that's probably going to be destroyable.
Yep,
we'll
I would
see.
not be surprised if we're going to get fixed guns.
Yeah.
Zirconia wants to know how big Yoda will be, like 10 millimeters.
He's gonna be this big,
itty.
but half as tall.
I mean,
Oh.
I think that's the kind of model you probably like perch on a rock or something like that.
Yeah, I
right?
think so.
Right?
No, it's gonna be the like.
Or you
it's-
put him
it's-
on Luke's. You have Luke
Oh.
on his back.
I was gonna say he's like on a flying stand because it's like.
Oh,
it's the,
sure.
It's the
It's
episode
the
2
two,
Yoda,
yeah.
and he's all gonna be like all kung fu
Ignores
now,
all terrain, except the Imperial Senate.
except the. As a 2+ save, except versus the Imperial Senate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that we had.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So
yeah.
we are doing a double header today. So that was Star Wars Legion. We are about to start our 40K game. It's going to start in 20 minutes. We're going to be coming back with that. So stay put. We're not going anywhere. Dark Apocrypha is here. And then tomorrow we are doing a double header again, but we're reversing it. So tomorrow we will have Dark Apocrypha first, and then followed by Legion afterwards.
Yeah.
So
If you've
super
got more
excited.
questions, if you didn't get to see our full game today and want to see that full thing tomorrow, we'll be here.
You can also watch it. It's archived on Twitch.
Mhm.
You can watch the game, and we're playing it again tomorrow for you guys.
Yeah.
All right, so that is it. We will be back in 20 minutes. You guys stay put, and we are going to have Stable Lave versus Matt
Yeah.
with
Hey.
Dark Apocrypha.
Woo.
Done.
Don't forget to subscribe. Support us on Patreon. Thanks for watching.